Okay, Fambulem, I bring a warm greetings from the media empire then and now. And apologies for a couple of minutes late, but I will call this couple, obviously, about 15 minutes late into the program. But now for ensure say we get the program for go on, so that something technically not go really affect we, so we try for make up for everything else before we click that go live button. Of December, I want to use this opportunity as we approach the Christmas. We're already in the Christmas period, festive season, if you like, in behalf of this empire, for which everybody a Merry Christmas. And as we approach another new year, we want to pray to God for the success and transition of every one of us into seeing. Today we get a special broadcast. And this tuna can see the title by now is The Enduring Legacy of a Man who lead we nation for 11 years. Today we want to cut all the bull and go straight to the point and hopefully address this issue once and for all. I remember 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, we did a similar video broadcast on the legacy of Ernest Bai Koroma. Fambule, waiting I want for let we understand is pride, waiting a pride. Hence we question where we ask as per the title. They make this man the soldier on. In other words, for carry on, waiting na the motivating factor, waiting na the driver. Well, we on the inside, as usual, but circumstances, and try for use that for see whether we go arrive at a reasonable conclusion. Remember, on the then and now, we don't traffic on fakery. We don't traffic on false. With diligence, check up the research material that we are available, and we use that now in the inform the opinion and what we get on the subject matter, then we weigh in. Today is no different. But again, Fambulem, I can just take 2 minutes again for continue for play. No, it's 1 minute. We want to make this program nice, short, and sweet. But why would they listen to some Sabano 7.5? Let we continue for shape the program. Let we get more people in, yeah? Okay, Fambulem. From that one, we don't tune in. I want to say thank you very much. The numbers are lower than expected, but hopefully it will grow, or subsequently people will get for watch the program. This is an issue with consistency, and you get for manage the problem both with the work where you do, also you gain you living, and as opposed to what you would do in sacrifice for nation. Notwithstanding, there are no regrets. We absolutely enjoy this, as I can always say. And this is like over 4 years running. So it's not like we've just started. So Fambulem, today we want to talk about the enduring legacy of Ernest Bai Koroma and ask the question, why does he continue to soldier on? And what I've been to say is, today we want the book, in other words, the BS, let we kill the beast, let we keep them real. Let exactly about waiting the situation is. Before I go into that, one main important thing I want to play for is a video we will inform, in fact, the people as to where we are, and people we're willing to listen and be rational enough and objective, because that speaks volume. A particular video where they talk about speak volume, and I want for everyone to listen very, very keenly, very, very keenly, attentively. If you can borrow me, you hear, because this is not definitive thing of waiting we don't happen to the country between green and red, vis-a-vis all the others. So wanna take a listen.
Shepherding this very extremely difficult process to a very successful end. I want you to know that we have honest religion as to us all, and to assure you and every member of your government that I will make sure that I continue from where you came from, and that you can be assured of my support as and when you need me, and to also let you know that you have done a good job, and I want to step in your shoe and continue this job. I also want to let the world and this country know that the politics of hatred, adversarial politics in particular, should come to an end. You and I know that we are not at war. You won the last time, completed, and you did not contest. I unfortunately I cannot see my brother here, Dr. Samora Kamara. I would have loved to see him here, but I'm just here to assure you that I will ensure that peace, stability, and security continues in this country.
Wow.
We are not here for witch hunting. Quite a lot of people are scared. They have no reason to be scared. This is part of democracy, and they can rest assured that Sierra Leone is for us all. And
I most welcome you. I want to assure you that as a former president, I will always be here.
Right, Fambule, una sian for una self, and una yeri. This is exactly what we depend on the day now. We're talking nothing else but the fact. So we play on a video where speak volume, where some of the arguments the way we have, we're not even supposed to have it. And we get to ask ourselves, why are we having these arguments? Why are we having these arguments? Why are we allowing ourselves to be played by these very politicians? So I play on a tape when the current leader, His Excellency Brigadier Julius Marabio, take over the reins of government. A lot of people not like to look on this video because this video is quite telling. But it's to go anywhere. Whether in a court of law, they want to use them for particular instances, this speaks volume. And just 2.5 minutes now I play of the video. It's a 5-minute video. And the ex-president in the end responded. Within Julius Malala Biose, of course, Unaye Ribola just try for paradise. He recognized the leadership of ex-president, going president then, Ernest Bai Koroma, and say, you've done really well. You've achieved greatness. This is from the current leadership in a meeting between the two men, the ex and the current. The outgoing and the current then, as per the video at the time. He praised them. He talked about, he gave him assurance that there is no, I wonder why important. President Biose, there will be no witch hunting, that there will be no place for the politics of hatred. There will be no place. This is President, no place for the politics of hatred. There will be no witch hunting. Okay. Again, like I say, I can go on and on, but all President Biose do in that video there was to praise the former president, the outgoing president, and say, in fact, go call on them when necessary. And in fact, they look up, and this is important. In fact, every segment of that 5-minute video is quite important. Say, I go continue from where you left off. All them developmental stride. I look at some social media pundits, some big one, them, some don't join the government now, they help for ridicule the former president who ran the country for 11 years. Of course, he was never a perfect man, and I don't think anybody expected him to have been perfect. There's none. But we weigh the balance and see the good from the evil. So them media pundits there, they go on now for try for ridicule, stain, tarnish this man in character for 11 years. Hence, we ask the question today, we talk about the enduring legacy, and we ask the question, why does he continue to soldier on Fambulem? Una know something? Man's pride. A man's pride, and this is at the center of this conversation here tonight. A man's pride is so great, greater than everything else I can think of except one, and that's your mama's love, your mama in love. A man will retaliate only because somebody abused his mama. He will retaliate. He can allow many other things for go. But with other things there regarding in pride, he will try for embrace that, cushion that, protect that, secure that. That the only thing we can rival him or even more than in pride, now in mama in love. It is no different in politics. So una read the video for yourself, and at some point during this broadcast, where I will keep nice, short, and sweet, we go again, and this is important because I make say the bull. Everybody where they say this and that. The land now as we speak. Now in being the compliment, the outgoer. And we can't say na error because he was a member of the opposition. In fact, the leader for the opposition party then, the biggest opposition party then, he was the leader. So that means he was aware, if not 100% of things, but more than half the things that were happening in the country. So he was wowed, he was thankful, he saw, he appreciated, he acknowledged all the good things the way this man do. And we'll talk about the things then shortly. Hence why we talk about enduring legacy. We talk about a man's pride and ask the question, why does he continue to soldier on? And we don't do this today. We hope for put this to rest. This nasty politics. And now we serve the people and they allow for letting they play on me. I will get to that. Let's look at the accomplishments of ex-president Bai Koroma. I wonder we take a look at the accomplishments of ex-president Ernest Bai Koroma. You know, Fambulem, the 11 years, it be riddled with many things, such as corruption, okay? But there were many, many good things. And we lack for focus on roads. So not only roads, we want to talk about a little bit of the developmental stride, the physical, the tangibles that were done by this segment. So we don't understand why people and they try to play a blind side to it today, and why deliberately others are trying to mislead me and you on something we will for know very well. The record is there for us to check. So let me begin with water project. I will talk about the road project last, because the road project now don't they trump everything as if nothing else was done. Only roads, which itself was good, and all then trunk and feeder roads, and most of them where the ex-president, where the current president acknowledged. These are the things that we were acknowledging. And when you say, I will continue from where you left off, because government is not an event, it is a process, it is an ongoing thing. Governments come and go, and they continue for eternity. So you can't kill you party or you ex or you incumbent or you whatever and say, or outgoing and say you didn't do anything at all. So now we talk about family. People around the country benefit from water. Of course, it's arguable, but I talk about feasible pipe-borne water project there. You can team up and deny that simply because you want to deny, but you will never reference it. You will never give a proof that what I'm saying here is not realistic or it did not happen. I talk about tangibles, achievements, developmental goals, strides, deliverables by the ex-president in government, the All People's Congress government. People like you always want for there. I talk about the All People's Congress party, and which I've been doing. And you remember, it's 4 years on, but at a point where I feel if it's not relevant, because we focus is holding government to account. That's what the focus of this platform is. So had you switched things around in which the APC was in governance, our criticism will be directed at them. Our scrutiny, our lens, our mirror will be directed at them. So for 1 year plus 2 years, we talked about APC. We talk about all the negatives, about the disruption, the negativities. But we focus is who makes the difference for the brain issue affecting our people. Who is expected to build or put into policies where go impact the lives of we people, change the lives of we people. What are those social policies then? Social justices then? Inequities in the country. Who does that? Is it not the government in power? That's why it's about the people and we care for. Make a focus day on government, and it's a civic and constitutional responsibility for whole government to account. Sacrosanct, full stop, period. And that's what we do here. It's unfortunate that when you criticize you government, our government, in the minds of others, you are only doing so because you belong to the other. What a bull, load of bull. So anyway, let me go to the enduring legacy of Ernest Bai Koroma. Under the leadership of Ernest Bai Koroma, and in fact, I want to say this, let me add some more power to what they say tonight. This government of the All People's Congress for 11 years, and I speak on the record, and I'm not thinking that the first time I don't say them. It walked past every other government, and not only single-handedly, but put all together since independence. It walked past them all. Fambulem, make I repeat. The government of Ernest Bai Koroma, the All People's Congress, we ruled the country for 11 years. It do more development than all governments previously put together. I can like for exempt Akaba in government for good reasons, and this is exactly what we do on the platform. We try to be reasonable, we try to look at circumstance, evidence, we deduce, and then we arrive at conclusion, because now all of that and they inform the opinion where we opine so now on a particular issue they are. And why we decide for Pool Pakaba. You see, that are the basis, part of the basis of the success, the administration of Ernest Bai Koroma, where people are not going to acknowledge, either some people know, but some pretend as if they don't know, whilst others are just completely ignorant, you know. I don't want to call me people and fools or idiots. Those are too much of a hard word for say in this particular instance, but we get the responsibility for educate, for conscientize the minds of the unconscious people. This is what another aspect of it now will continue to do. So yes, all the governments they put together, and by we own accounts, try for exempt the government of Pakaba, and we will tell you shortly why. But that lead to the success. This man and in government get an accolade for say, then make, then develop and deliver more than all previous governments put together. You see, Pakaba in government was a wartime government. And this is another thing where we need for really understand a wartime government. Let me provide some background on this. So we not say we go to war, we don't need for the emphasis on that because we all know that we all, as a consequence of that war, they over 10 years of war, 75,000 of we compatriots, and that's a conservative estimate, perished during that war day. Thousands of others lost their limbs, were hacked brutally. It was a brutal war, a civil war. From out of the ashes of that war, a new Sierra Leone began, a new republic began. You see, sometimes endorse violence or war, but sometimes they come to that point where the leadership or those in power, they don't understand any longer. They become so insulated, so dug in that nothing else they listen to. Such was the thing that led us to that war. There were many other things, but one party government, other opposition voices were being muzzled. There was no accountability process. I mean, the country basically was a failed state. It was a failed state. Nothing was really happening. I was part and parcel of that. When I say the process, I mean I existed during the time, you know, as a young teenager. Okay, yes, at the time, and I saw a lot. I saw the debate and go into the state that we went into when nothing was really happening. It was like a magical wall. If you find something for it today, well, you don't bet it. So all of that aggravated situation where eventually played out, in which the war, but of course, instituted by others. We know the story, and others are still in denial. And I make the reconciliation committee, the way we've been set up, will be need for letting people actually acknowledge and accept the roles that they did play in that brutal civil war day. I'm not saying no do one, but it was never a complete process because some people are languishing in jail, like General Issa, within a Rwanda jail 5 and all that. General Issa was so compliant. Even the Pakaba government recommend them in the sense that in compliance with the authorities to talk and say and be on side to help to bring the war to end was so helpful. But eventually, the man still languish in jail. We don't say do bad things then, but how many people are not do bad things? There's a lot of people that will do bad things. Ali Kaba, Dr. Ali Kaba is one of them. Of course, they're not missing necessarily you get for take a gun and shoot. You could be an architect of the war, an architect in the background, drawing diagrams, you know, raising funds, using your leverage for make contact with the outsiders them or people that will help in different ways, whether not weaponry, which are all accessories to the war effort. And we say this without any hesitation. Why? Because the man who when they did indict for war Nasalone, where happened to be the former Liberian head of state, Charles Taylor, said so publicly. He knew no one else in that war effort but Dr. Ali Sanja Kaba. So why Dr. Kaba no answer question is beyond me up to this day. And you get few others. We serve this party, and one of them they serve as a chairman, I think, in Wales. We've also been very active, proactive in our war effort. There's many people running around free. Is it time for us for reconcile, proper, and forgive? We don't need for letting people die in a jail, these young people. Them man, they didn't know since the war end over 20 years, and these are young people. Why not, you know, try for do restorative justice, reintegrate them into society? Why not? Why do you have to condemn a man as such that we not say they do bad things? And this is not the thing and why they say. They kill people, they kill people. But such was the situation then. Not only that, there are men who participate in a particular heinous thing where happening at the country at the time, and the workers scot-free. Some of them are serving in government. Some of them, here are still prominent, walking around, roaming around free. So where is the justice? All said and done, waiting with the say, they don't serve some time. There has to be some kind of restorative process. People need to be given a second chance. You can't just condemn them an animal, throw the key away into the ocean and let it be. What the reconciliation process is all about. What it's all about. We forgive some and we hold others, accountable. And the big one, them in fact, we institute the crime, they are walking around scot-free. So now on that basis, day after the war, waiting rise up from the ashes of that war day, now the new entrant of the Republic, the First Republic, was ushered. That First Republic day, we don't try. And now they Pakabakam. So now the background, and I wanted to provide some background context. Pakabakam and help for build institutions, because the world see we plight, and you reply because normally where countries that can go to war and burn themselves down, the international community can come and help and bring some kind of sanity to them particular states, then they will go to war. And after the war done, then they hold bounties, do some assessment of waiting damage and how to build the country going forward. So we benefited from that. But because Pakaba was a wartime president, all he do now for institutes the measures them, the structures them, and begin for put them in place, and hundreds and hundreds of millions, waiting to be given to Sierra Leone as the effort was being continued. So where Pakaba and lost the election to Ernest Bai Koroma, this was the second phase and the second republic. So Ernest Koroma take from there, waiting Pakaba been largely done cement. So you see the success story, but you no one acknowledge that saying that's so it happened. But you rather want condemn on the basis of partyism, because you no one give credit to whose credit due. This is how unfair and biased we are. But until we begin to acknowledge these things, we will never make progress, true progress, never. But having inherited all of these losses, and not mean say Ernest Bai Koroma himself no work. So you see, here is the problem. Normally, when a president take over, it sometimes take over a year for even donor countries, then because we economy in a donor economy, for begin for help we, for begin for give waiting them commit to. Takes a year, sometimes beyond. Project then will be lapsed. The president or the new administration can take over them project and they look at them, how feasible and tangible they are, especially one then we don't they go through. We already don't begin. You can continue them. But then at that process there you go there, and you first term, except you can hit the ground running, you're well prepared. So maybe you might accomplish a thing or two now your second administration. You are inside the Ernest Bai Koroma government, then talk about attitudinal change. That was a major project, because you identify that the country in itself has a problem of attitude, the people. And for change happen and happen fast, we have to, reset the minds of our people so that they begin for understanding things there on how for help government make the necessary changes, which they are the benefactors or come to benefit, or the nation as a whole. So you also hear about, there were other two major projects. Your projects, it don't slip my mind, And the plan was to make Sierra Leone a middle income country, which was attainable because we've looked at the evidence. It was attainable, yeah? So the two main projects, them, I don't know why it don't seem for slip me minds. It seemed for slip me mind. What the two main projects under the APC Ernest Bai Koroma was. What the two main projects under Ernest Bai Koroma, was. The two main projects. Somebody can help me in the chat, the chat room, okay? So, the Then come within 2 projects and they attain the first one. But after you attain the first one, then you now need for switch gears into the second mode, into the second gear, for begin to put the second part into place. But and they complete each other. But once one done, the other one need for takeoff. So such was it. There was economic boom in the country. That's another fact. But again, that's not the background down there as to waiting to make this president, Ernest Bai Koroma, successful, what he inherit from the then Pakaba government, and how they form some kind of relationship in the interest of the country. Because after it took over, it shadowed Pakaba for the duration of in time, and I sure say many things were told to him. Now, he make the video up from the beginning of this program when I go see the two man ex-president Koroma, president-elect Bio, they talk. The thing when they talk is now for sheer intelligence, projects, analysis, advice, we go carry the country go forward. That's what we're discussing. So you hear President Bio, they acknowledge the president, the ex or outgoing president say, you were successful. He said those words. Those were words of admiration. And I will count on you, call on you when necessary for helping the country go forward. There will be nothing like witch hunting. Wonder why I mentioned that then. Was it part of the plan? Or was it because these things normally happen? You know, witch hunting, okay? The government will be a government of inclusion. We go take over from Musa you left. We'll carry on in developmental strides. 4 years on, well, you know exactly what's in the go on. So here we are now, enduring legacy, Ernest Bai Koroma, 11 years of All People's Congress rule. Water, and they talk about pipe-borne water around the country. Kailaun, Bo, Kenema, Makeni, Lonsa, Mile 91, Kabala, Lunge, Pokemon. I repeat, maybe you know you hear me fine. Water-borne projects around the country, and this not to even all, this is not just few again. Kailaun, Bo, Kenema, Makeni, Lonsa, Mile 91, Kabala, Lunge, and Pokemon. Check them up. All what they tell you now today is fact. Don't allow to be misled. It's nothing where you can find out for yourself. Let person know you, just like how they tell you today. Not only take me word for that, say, what did that guy say, or what did Denny now say? Let's see how true it is, and then let for pride themselves in saying nothing but the fact. And that's what we do here. Materials are well researched. We can sit down here for talk. We talk things, you know, which are factly based. Fact-based things, then now we talk now. So this water project, it ring the country all over. You will see that almost the entire country benefit from water projects. Water-borne project, pipe-borne projects. If you understand the geography of the country, you go see, say, a ring all over the place. Okay? You go see, say, a ring all over the place. So another thing I want to talk about on the success story of the 11 years rule of Ernest Bai Koroma is that of energy. You know, say energy is a big issue in our country, and we suffered it then, we are suffering it now, and we will not want for draw like a line for say, it becomes provocative, which time was better off than the other. You know, that's not what we want to talk about, even though some people are interested in that as if the competition is one of good taste. People can continue for suffer. If the electricity power outage is down, it's down, and something must be done to bring it back up to level. If it's up, and we'll continue to ask for more to meet the full capacity or some serious capacity. Because national development they come, that can help to attract investor them, foreign direct and indirect. So energy sources for infrastructure development. Family, listen to this well. I might not say this again, or if I say it again in future broadcast, it might be with a different flavor to them. For them, when they just they join the program, I just want to let we understand, say we are talking about the enduring legacy of Ernest Bai Koroma and the All People's Congress 11 years rule of the government of Sierra Leone. We also, they say on the record that 11-year rule of the All People's Congress is one of the most productive, one of the most developmental oriented ever in the history of the country. And we go further for say, put all the other governments together from independence up to Pakaba. I remove Pakaba for reasons where I just give, or for them when they will join, I go try to talk about them again briefly. All the other governments then put together, this one government will hold power for 11 years, walk past them all. Check the records, they are there. I'm speaking on the record. And then they speak out of fallacy, you know, or some kind of, because I'm beholden, no, and I'm not. We just spew out the facts here. So we exempt Pakaba because part of the success story of this man, Ernest Bai Koroma, and the enduring legacy of his now, where most people they try for trash, is a consequence of the wartime president, Ahmad Tijankaba of blessed memory. In your own time now, can set up the institutions, them, the structures where Ernest Koroma eventually inherit and take them from there with millions and millions of dollars for use for develop the country. Let's talk about energy. And I've been talking about infrastructure and development. Let's not forget, because this is key in the developmental stage of any country. Okay. So let's look at Lungi and Fambule. Remember, shortly after the government of His Excellency Koroma, not Koroma rather, Julio take over, there were issues of power outage na Lungi, because we then remember that then go take the generator na Makini, the people's generator. The people's generator, I repeat, the generator was bought for the district. So technically, by default, it belonged to the people, not so because now you government buy them, so therefore you can bulldoze your way for what to come back. That's bullying. That's bullying. You can't do that. It was bought for the people of Makeni. And you see, not only people of Makeni no more benefit from generators, people from Kono and other places. It was also the plan, project, and deliverables by the Ernest Koroma government. So by default, that generator, they belong to the people of Makeni. Yes, there were negotiations, but in the end, if the people say no, that negotiation they've been supposed to continue. You had no business sending armed personnel who have continued brutalizing the people, not only there in other places, use live rounds against its own citizens, only for resisting the taking of a generator. And you use power where you already get into the generator and pass through the tongue with them. You know how much hatred that has generated. Do you think those kids that you kill, you will be ever forgiven the way you kill them? And as we understand, far away from the scene of the protest, it was like, it was almost reminiscent of rebel times. That armed dogs just invade a village from hamlet to hamlet, just to look for people and they gun people and down. And these are government, you know, paid people, paid operatives in the sense that armed police, paramilitary. So back to energy sources, let me not strain. So Lungi benefited from it. Charlotte Hydro, and I remember the other day they talk about Bathos as they add something to the grid when continuous development as acknowledged by the current president. Oh, Bathos, you know, they get electricity for the first time in 100 and some more years. Listen to what they say, instead of being added to the grid. We're still not bad. because now so the thing they go over but for 160 years. Anyway, we talk about the Charlotte Hydro. And you have to imagine how much power this gets and how far it can go. Bankasoka, which was a very controversial one in the sense that people want, or people may say, the initiator, what happened for me, Dr. Kande Kole Yumkela, was not acknowledging the process, which wasn't true. Dr. Kande Yumkela was always acknowledged in that particular project day, because the project been his. He was the introduced them, now in Briancam. But it was a skeletal project in many respects, and money being get for look for them, for fund them. So I know they call out Dr. Kande. Of course, that was a good initiative, and Dr. Kande in name will always be synonymous with the Bankasoka project. But then he presents them to the government, which is the normal thing to do, and the government take them from there. Government solicit fund, I believe, from China and help for make the Bankasoka project realistic. But the point I'm trying to make here is the Bankasoka project was part of the energy source project of the All People's Congress under Ernest Bai Koroma. Let me say for continue to be used. We talk about roads so much, even though we talk about them, but instead of by order, put on force, because now most people in Sabi, by order, I put on last. I put on last. We all know Makali, or Royeribo Makali. Then Seth also benefited from energy project. Mali benefited from energy project. Bumbuna Hydro, does it make sense to you? I mean, you go here, argument as well, say, Teti de Bumbuna, but there's a time, and it's still the function anyway. Because you get to understand the context of hydro, how it works. So we know, say, we're in season camp is fully functional, because the heavy rains, they help for drive the turbine them, for produce the energy where we need as at the time, but dry season capacity is low. EDAX, Nakono. Does it make sense? Some people try for him now, which is really unfortunate and disingenuous. So instead of we acknowledge respect for the other and take them from there, I mean, the explanations could be so simple. If me power outage have been 50, and then I come, I go, or I try very hard, for be a part and parcel of that project, just like the current presidency, I will take over from where you live. I will take over from where you live. In other words, continue then development and so the nation better. There will be no witch hunting, said Julius Maada Bio. We will respect the rights of we citizens then. This is a new political dawn. But 4 years on, you tell me what you are seeing. Continue with energy. So Bumbuna Hydro project not stop. The members say there was a feast initiated by this very government of Ernest Bai Koroma. We're talking about the enduring legacy of this man, where most people want trash. And I also tell Una say, a man's pride, the only thing was stronger than a man's pride, and my mind love we get for picking, and the only thing that was stronger than a man's pride. So we ask the question, why does he continue to soldier on? If you understand the pride context that they talk about, then probably it makes sense. If you also understand what is being thrown at him, the kitchen sink, the basin, the komodo, everything is thrown at him. Imagine that, after working for 11 years. After working for 11 years, and we expect them for work away. Anyway, they talk about energy. We talk about Bumbuna phase 2. We talk about Bo and Kenema. So we talk about solar street lights them, now Bo and Kenema. And we get many other towns and villages them. We also benefit from the solar street lights them. Many other towns and villages. This now during the 11 years rule of Ernest Bai Koroma. can say what some people are going to say or what they're saying now. But they can continue to say that because our peace, say what is true, waiting right. You can't see it because that could very well happen to me and that could happen to you. Your achievement, somebody try for trash them, not even acknowledge them. Isn't it really unfortunate? Let we talk water key, the expansion of deep water key, Queen Elizabeth Key, what we can commonly call deep water key. Expansion of them. In formula, while we understand what expansion mean in this sense. Then a more economic activity, expansion mean more boats then go able for dock, so that more goods and services go able for come in. So government go able for generate more money, and that money they go into the services of government, provision for in people, facilitate things that we for do for in people. So the expansion of Deepwater Key was a major project, and this was a new beginning as well, because this shows a development they happen, investments they come in. Because this is the only reason why you want to extend the port facility, because the color you get, they don't run out of capacity. Things are, happening. So hence why I say there was an economic boom in the country. We cannot deny that at all. We cannot deny that at all. I need to acknowledge some people whilst I go on with this particular program here tonight. Really, really enjoying this program here tonight. Really enjoying it. Yeah. I'm really, and I feel so good that we are getting this off our chest. And let we feel free for comment. Let we feel free for comment under the agenda for change. Brahma Conte, welcome to the program. Joseph Brahma Conte, welcome to the program. He writes something very level-headed. George Orwell, Mamama Airport, thank you for that. We will come to that shortly. That's George Orwell. Mr. Mohamed Kamara, the co-host on this particular platform. Welcome to the project, my friend and brother. It's good to see you. It's been a while. Abudi Kabo, God bless the PA. It seems like the Parliament fan that answered this video. Okay, I will play the video. I will play the video again. Ibs Banks, you have to play the view. Now 98 where they ask them if Ernest na ipadi. Ibs Bank. Unfortunately, I don't get that interview. I get an archive, but I not been prepared. I know it need for go back because I use a different system again tonight. We not get me archives already loaded. But that's a nice one, because that will have spelled out. But I also get a video play from the beginning. I don't know whether you've enjoyed the beginning. And that's also silence. If not all of the critique, but most of them, you need for silence them. Because waiting and they criticize was acknowledged by the man who they are supporting now for president of the Republic. But let me go back to the achievements of this man, enduring legacy of Ernest Bai Koroma. Okay? The expansion of the port, extension of the port facilities, do mainly like I've been say, because economic activities been they grow. They accommodate more ship them, more container boats them. And from where all the citizens and both in the now, that's at the time, because a lot of things, are happening right now, like economic activities. The country is really struggling economically. But then, that's why I'm saying there was a financial boom, economic boom in the country, because people were really, really making tons and tons of money through businesses. I myself was a businessman of shipping containers. I was upset with a lot of things down at the key because like for free me container, it will cost so much money and it gets so much hassle. Okay, you use cargo down for let them free and then go pull you come on here, send you under. So there was equally any negative things happening, and that did not bow down at all. But keep in mind that the entire process was for benefit the country as a whole. So let me go to health. Let me remember say there was free health care for children. All the picking where they under 5-year-old, there was free health care. They know they pay them, people and they pay for them. Free. free healthcare for picking them under 5 years of age. And not only tap day, all we get belly, pregnant women, them, all of them, healthcare, free access to healthcare. Now they pay arara, and then they pay. All of them we get belly, and not tap the again. Them are me the way they nurse them picking them. All the one that we get in the way then they nurse. In other words, breastfeed and things like that. They had access to free health care. Free health care. Imagine waiting down they mean. Imagine waiting that one they mean. Imagine the ease of burden. So that money where they come, you can direct them elsewhere. You don't need for worry about something very, very major as that of health. And this was happening under the leadership of Ernest Bai Koroma. Now, policy then and the way they initiated actually were implemented, where actually was working. It was put in place, it was working, they implement them, and they benefit the people. These are the positive signs of good policies of government. That is what happened under this man. There was also peripheral units dotted all over the country, over 1,270 of them. 1,270 peripheral units. Normally, they can call them PHUs, the short form of them, which most people are familiar with. Imagine that. Imagine that. You also get the Chinese hospital. Well, if you don't use the Chinese hospital yet, you not go understand. And if you not do your due diligence for understand waiting the Chinese hospital within a Jew represent, waiting it mean for the people of Sierra Leone, then you really haven't done your due diligence. And I go ask Una Fambulem for refer or go look up waiting the Chinese hospital way not be another successful project of Ernest Bai Koroma back then inside in 11 years of rule and waiting this hospital mean. This is now one of the major hospital them, major health facility them now the country where they treat hundreds and thousands of people them on a yearly basis. Specialized treatment them. People that we don't understand, waiting they do them and etc. That's not the hospital land. Every day it full up with people them. And they really, really they help because they've managed to cure or manage diseases, sickness them where we people and get. Successfully, they've managed. You know, say boku thing they with people who people don't understand. And for some reason it can affect them. And once you become ignorant on problem of pain healing, it becomes difficult because you dey inside that clownish mentality about their way back thoughts them. You understand what they try for say. So the Chinese hospital at Jue has made so much difference. These are some of the few achievements on the health of this particular man known as Ernest Bai Koroma. Fambulema, they remind you today, the 10th of December, wishing you all a happy festive season. This is not the Then and Now program. They come to now with the enduring legacy of Ernest Bai Koroma, 11 years of rule. When you put them together, he walked past all previous governments since the inception of the First Republic back in 1961 under Sir Military Guide to his brother Albert, and then the plots, and then Shaka Stephen era, the one-party rule. This man worked more than all of them, and this is what I'm outlining. And these are not opinions. Let me emphasize, these are not opinions. These are facts. These are facts, Ambulen. These are facts, okay? Let me go to something else for Una. Very interesting, very, very interesting. Now let's talk about roads, because I get for in this program. Okay, we're approaching the 1 hour mark. Let's talk about roads quickly. We know say roads is important, very, very important. I mean, without roads, you are kind of locked in. When you get a road, you are open up, north connected to south, southeast, northwest, and things like that. So there's the movement of goods and services on all sides. You will get advantage for go lemon yanda. You're able to pull and come yanda and can go on the other side and make money. And the idea is you get something that some goods people need on the other side. You were able to get sugar cane from the other side, or the other side, not able to go and because you not get that kind of soil, able for can go there. Freetown, access to Freetown for pool goods and services come up upline and bring and come. The roads don't make them stable in shorter time. So we can equally monetize them and understand the true value. Usa you been they spend 4 hours. Usa you been a burn patrol. Usa you been they pay more money as a passenger along with your goods. It don't become less. It don't become 1 hour. 1 hour, 30 minutes, in fact. Still, so which means that driver or car owner, they buy less petrol. Therefore, you passenger, they pay less money for you goods or you package, whatever you get there. And then goods, then they able for come or for can distribute them or can sell them on time. So this was the good thing about roads. And under the Ernest Koroma government, thousands of miles of kilometers of road were completed. And when I say completed, I mean complete. I know they can't tell you, say, let you go show me the one at Wilkinson Road. I know they can't tell you, say, let you go show me the one at New England Field. I know they tell you, say, let you go show me the one where they for go up out and call the place. No. I am talking about completed until you understand what they mean. And this is not the past. So the idea that people let go, that people in corner road. This is how cheap the effort is. The idea that people let go, that people in corner road, they go take picture of road where possibly citizens themselves are able for government, for let government help them. They don't do that. And they only say then corner roads, then you get some major roads, then we government responsible for. But inside the 11 years, you cannot pave all of the roads all over the country. No, you can't. But there are major roads that you pave, your achievements. And there was so much needed that to this day, had they not been there, you were able to tell me what exactly that they mean. If Pendon would not be able to connect to other city them, if you not be able to get them other trunk road them, just imagine how much starvation will have been, how much economic cost will have been. But this man, the enduring legacy of EBK also involved roads. So let me talk about the roads a little bit. Under in leadership, 1,500 miles of road were completed, paved. Already I say get the ED to run. Completed, paved. Than under 11-year rule. And waiting on they mean, they were not half done. Now I make a mention, don't tell me about Wilkinson Road. Don't tell me about New England Field. Not tell me about them other half place them. Please, I did talk about the way complete. And if you don't know what 1,500 miles of road mean, in terms of waiting 1,500 mean, you go find for there you use your calculator or your calculation, go online, open calculation or metric system, and try for see waiting 1,500 mean. How far is it? Waiting in mean, really. This man complete 1,500 road. And this includes trunk roads. Not only the major one then. There were other things that will be involved in terms of road. So if we talk about township roads, trunk roads, city roads, or city and township roads and trunk roads. But the major ones, Port Loko, Lunge, and I don't say Lunge, most of una go remember which program here to it. It was shocking to me for a while. Two things. I saw Lunge when Lunge, in fact, I lived in Lunge in the 1970s, when Lunge was completely bush. You arrive with your ferry, Tasso, Ribi, or Tagri, very clean ferry them. Yellow, not all that rubbish the way we get now. Very, very clean them. If you see the toilet there, you can go and go sit down. If you see the restaurant, then this and they will get top. And so we go think I make more thread, you know, the bluff. One they go, one they can non-stop. And no need for wait for people. It was all timed. Hence, what then the emotion can come in where we talk about anything and they, because these are things that we saw. Ride double-decker bus, ride train. I've seen some things, you know. Ride double-decker bus, ride train. Dove court one at the see so that dirty water, that gutter. Who be the worst day? Abona number 38 Guard Street. You see, you end up being clean. Where rain come, when they go inside that gutter, they will go worse. You defend money day. Yeah, defend money day. Clean. So, what the point I try for make, I see all this deteriorate right before me very high. I see them fade and they begin for park. And this goes back some time ago. But the longer point out they try for make is like when you come down with the ferry, from the point to say you come down with the ferry in a longer day, from there, you see one or two hosts right there on a come down on the ferry. It's nothing else until you begin go to the Mahera Dungeon Tinta4. And I think that Mahera will be just opposite the airport to side them, get them billet them, and have greenhouse. One still team up there. The last time I was in Freetown, now they me mama been there. That particular one they were still team up. That particular one they were still team up. That's where my mom was. Because I think we get three, we get big family. We get three, and then we in another two. And then you get all kind of flights being calm if you see where the airport being clean and man, you know. So anyway, the road that the emphasis down there been they try for make. Now so the road been clean, so it been well paved and tarred. And then one man about it have been they make good. So when they make them, it take years, decades and decades. You see the one within a Freetown road so. We pass na ferry and you would. Now, one man abu, when they make that road there in the 1970s, I was there. I remember when they come to school, Albert Academy, first Cathedral Boys, then go Albert Academy because it took them quite a while. When they go Kandong, the Eastern Lions been getting practice ground right now you go there. So we go watch because that was a massive project. A small project. If you see some balls, they will then pull and they. If you about 2-3 of Garrett host them, if you see machinery. This and that. So we saw the making of that place there. They passed there. So that deteriorated until Ernest Bai Koroma can complete 1,500 miles of road, complete paved. And that includes Port Rocco, the Lunge Road, where I've been just the lay emphasis on and Mato. Kenema Pendem una sabi waiting exactly how they talk about. Makeni Kabbalah, Kekwe, Bo, and so much more that not even talk about. So Fambolem. Between and Ernest. Then I go give me state. I can play this video one final time. You important. I already try for Toma. Reason why then they do them and for Uda then they do them, it just does not sum up. It just does not make sense. But because we politics don't become so so polarized, identity politics, hence we see them kind in there in which orders are being paid. And we say that it's just fact, are being paid for come and do their rubbish there because they still take with people for be granted. And I refuse to believe this because we people have made great achievements. They understand, and I'll talk about the media space where we don't create in my conclusion statements. In my conclusion statement, I got media space where we don't create. So una can continue for do una they do. I'll listen to this keenly, yeah.
Shepherding this very extremely difficult process to a very successful end. I want you to know that we have on the Syrians has been us all, and to assure you and every member of your government that I will make sure that I continue from where you came from, and that you can be assured of my support as and when you need me, and to also let you know that you have done a good job, and I want to step in your shoe and continue this job. I also want to let the world and this country know that the politics of hatred, adversarial politics, should come to an end. You and I know that we are not at war. You won the last time, you've completed, and you did not contest. I unfortunately, I cannot see my brother here, Dr. Samora Kamara. I would have loved to see him here, but I'm just here to assure you that I will ensure that peace, stability, and security continues in this country.
Wow.
We are not here for witch hunting. Quite a lot of people are scared. They have no reason to be scared. This is part of democracy, and they can rest assured that Syria is for us all. And
I most welcome you. I want to assure you that as former president, I will always be here when called upon to provide whatever support that is required of me. I know that I have a team out there that have also acquired experience in the business of governance. Sierra Leone is for all of us, and we only have one Sierra Leone. At moments like this, we must send out the assurances that are charged by the people of this country to provide leadership. I have played my role. Some may describe it as limited, some may describe it as fulfilled, but whatever description anybody will give to it, will leave it to historians to determine. But let me assure you that I am open. This is our only home. I'm happy that you have made this trip, because there are so many issues out there of harassment here and there. But that is always expected at the announcement of the results. But let us continue to rein in our supporters, to know that at the end of the day, it is your brother or your friend, somebody connected to you. Therefore, there is reason to celebrate, of course. After every hard fight, you don't celebrate. But also do it within the framework of the law. After all of it, it is no longer politics, it is about developing Sierra Leone. Let me assure you that you are a brother, as you have indicated. I will give whatever support or advice I am required of. By the end of the day or tomorrow, I will be in my little corner in Godrich, and it's an easy.
Your names and who you are?
And begin at your small bill.
So far, how the transition period has
that tip is quite important. It's definitive of the period that we find ourselves in, and it speaks volumes. That will never go away. It shows the duplicity and hypocrisy on the part of very many of us. And until we begin to acknowledge the realism in these things, we will never make progress. Inside that tape day, despite what we don't hear about Ernest Bai Koroma, we hear the incoming president provide assurance to the outgoing president that there will be no politics of hatred. It will make the international community, the international world, and the country for understand there is no place for hatred, none whatsoever. So they expect a smooth transition. Not there for witch hunting. There's not going to be anything pertaining to witch hunting. And he praised the outgoing president, saying in his own words that he's been very successful, that Koroma was successful. Hence the program they make now, when we make all kind criticism. But it's good for get criticism, but it has to be constructive. But we take them from waiting the ex-presidents don't they go through, and how the current president be acknowledge the role they can play and describe them as successful. They say, me and you, Napadi, like I say, Mother Bios will let the world and the country know, say, the politics of hatred has to stop, that it will ensure that peace and stability continue for reign na the land. Here is the thing, my friend. In response, the outgoing president say they don't play a role. And it should be so magnanimous in his response. And it's fact. He's played his own role and he exit the scene. But notwithstanding, he go then in Lily corner and he expects some people or no say some people would describe a role as either fulfilled or unfulfilled. I mean, the judgment is theirs, but it has to be rational, reasonable, and fair. So there are many issues out there, and Bai Koroma said, which is true. So that'll be advice for the new president when they come in on how to understand the issues there which are out there and how to subsequently handle them. Let us continue to rein in our supporters. Let us continue. That's Ernest Bai Koroma telling incoming President Julius Maada Bio. Let us continue to rein in our supporters. There was a reason why the president said that. Because if we mislead we supporters them, we get the potential for take the country to chaos. So we actually responsible. But if we rein in our supporters, continue for let them know how to guide themselves, how to be productive citizens, how to be constructive citizens, how to contribute thoroughly into nation building, be part of the social fabric of society. Society as a whole will be fine. It will be good for every one of us, for the entire nation. So let we continue to do that. It also tell the incoming president, say, you are my brother. You are my brother, Ernest Koroma said. I can assure you that whatever support you need, I go then am Lily corner for provider support day for you. Whatever support you need, I go then am Lily corner provider support day for you. This now the now media empire today, the 10th of December 2021. Me on a host and present bringing this enduring legacy, Ernest Bai Koroma, it continue for soldier on. Concluding statement: if person don't work, and I want for let we use ourselves as example. If you don't work for a number of years, number of months, you not go expect you work for big trash, especially and you anyway they talk to President Bio. And President Bio acknowledges they don't do good work, by the way. Let us not forget that. That's important. Contextually speaking, very important. So you don't do good work, and then people they want for trash you work, or people in the trash you work. Not going well with you. It really not go down well with you. So we think, say, that because of this and many other things, ex-president Koroma found it difficult, even though it be non-promise, we say, something we have been getting serious issues with. But as they mature in the game, begin to understand, because after all, this is just a fact. Over 90% of people, when they come into politics, now for three things. Not one of them but all three of them. So being famous, being powerful, and forget rich. These are three things them all over the world, not only to us. Before people and begin things say you only ascribe them to African leaders then, or in this case, President Bio, President ex-President Koroma. No, the entire world. In the nature of politics, people are coming into this for three things simultaneously, or concomitantly, if you go like, all three at the same time. Famous, powerful, rich. Ernest Koroma was no exception, neither is President Bio. The ex-President Koroma came, he do all of his own. He got filthy rich. He will never be hungry again, neither will his generations unborn. He was very powerful. He still remained powerful then, but in a reduced role, because he gets somebody with powerful person and many other people in the with powerful person, and we see that when they begin to summon them. And in fact, because when you're in at the office, you enjoy immunity. No action can be brought against you whilst you're in at the office. That's how powerful you are. Having said this, when the time for trash that in the way it don't do, like any one of us, we will always try for defend that. And in defense and in this nature of things, in this scheme of things, when they talk about politics, it after you go away. Now, it make the way president like in the left, they can forget somebody there where you might likely call a lapdog, you might likely call a stooge. It depends, you know. You want to forgive me for the figure of speech. And that figure of speech, people are not understand them out there, which is that things that can use and interchangeably and variably so. You say they kick somebody out, and not me say they physically kick them out, but the process that a person they go through for left whatever organization or party can be deemed as kicked out. You say they humiliate somebody, and the process in which you describe, it very well they show humiliation. But because you elect the person and support the person, so you know one agree that they were humiliated when you know that is quite true. That somebody was kicked out, not physically, but the process itself imply that they were kicked out. It's a figure of speech. You know for letting trash what you don't do. Because you know they allow for letting trash what you don't do, and you want for let it be protected and continue, because this is important. You know, before we president or we leadership then and not been the vibe very much for legacy. Probably they were, but it wasn't as open, as obvious as they begin for look. And not be really care, because if they care certain things the way that they do then, they wouldn't be doing it. They wouldn't have done them. But now they are becoming cautious of their legacy. It should be protected. And we have no doubt in the now that Ernest Bai Koroma, they try for protect that legacy. The 11 years of work when he kind of power and hair been black, by the time they left all down gray, for took the burden of 7.5 million people now you hid. It's not easy. It's not easy. Yes, there are good times, but there are equally bad times as well. So we believe, say, because of that legacy protection, in character, when they assassinate day in and day out, this now in the gear, that drive, that commitment, that gear, that speed, that stamina, that energy, continue for soldier on, so that he go able, almost like a man, where they try for exonerate himself or herself, and in this case, not to exonerate it, they exonerate himself, they protect his legacy. Because if he were to leave now and go into oblivion, or like he been promising, well, they retire from active politics and go sit down at the background, I mean, there is a school of thought out there that he probably will have conjured more respect, but I don't know which respect he will have conjured more than this one. Because even as you speak at this one, I'll tell you, say the man in legacy is and will be protected, and he continue for build on him. It's like he is now effectively a statesman, which not go down well with many. You know, one re-describe what a statesman supposed for me. No. He is a statesman. It exemplifies all the virtues of a statesman and is recognized by the international community so that they've given him an observer job. An observer job where people are envious of him, where you not respect the country in that regard, can try for trash him. I thought that we should be proud that we somebody on the observer mission when I be ex-president. And as a consequence of what he do, where we need to understand, because we read some media pundits and they talk some things then where they way beyond this world. That because in sister, they na echo us, na influence the situation. But for goodness sake, Bo, it doesn't work that way. There are criteria for you to become an observer. One of the key one them is the principles of democracy, how you conduct yourself when you've been in a power. How power transition, was it smooth? Did you acknowledge who that they come and you disaful, you come out? This not anything and then the people and they look at and say, well, this is not good virtue them. You can go and exemplify or personify these virtues. Now other people in place, go show them how for do them kind of thing the way you do in your own place. This is what it is. Pambulem, Ernest Koroma, he get in bad virtues, in bad vices, just like every man. No man is perfect. But for 11 years, he endured. He took the country from another level as was given to him, as per which I don't outline in social and developmental strides in deliverables which are physical and tangible, and worked more than all previous governments combined, apart from Pakaba. We help for make this thing where they say possible, because Pakaba was a wartime president who prepared the ground structures and all hundreds of millions will be in the wait as a consequence of we war instead and make the country like this today, even though there's plenty of struggle, only because some are in denial, and as we see that they acknowledge something, and then as time they go further, you're completely different, man. You've been on the station. After you've said this, you've been on a station and say, Amande no to me paddy. Ebo, we can go on and on and on. Famulem. There is a new political space. It's not my final conclusion. It's a new political space. And that new political space is known as social media. There's a new political space, and this new political space is known as social media. Current President Marabio knows this, because during the time when he been in our opposition, he acknowledged that. He said that social media now don't occupy everybody in the country now, especially WhatsApp. His Excellency Julius Marabio. So what he been try for do now for acknowledge this now a tool, very powerful tool that can be used. So if we self able for put a foothold inside, we go able for reach people them from far-flung places them in the country. This is the new political space that they talk about, which is social media, and the genie is off the box or off the bottle, as they can say, and it's not going back anytime soon. Now make anything you do, it's out there in seconds, it's gone and it's not coming back. Because once you press that send, it's no longer yours, you the sender. It's public property. And that's what we take for disseminating information and prepare the people then for what is to come. Democracy involves sacrifice. You see, before we get 5 republics now, I believe, say we don't attain since the end of the war. It came at a huge sacrifice, over 75,000 people dead, limbs hacked. That's where we arrived. And we see where we are going. And democracy for continued freedom is on the blood, sweat, and tears of we compatriots them. This is exactly why we're not going to tolerate people and for fool around with democracy where we earn so hard. We don't continue for your jargons and rhetoric and this and fallacies, just pronouncements. Pronouncement, we talk about tangibles, deliverables, physical, not propaganda, not fakery. No, you cannot run an economy on fake biases. No, you can't. You can't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So the space called social media They address the obvious social feelings as per we government. That's social media does. And this particular feelings we government now as we speak is happening. Social media, they amplify all of the time. And that rumbling and take place between those who are paid for can counter their narrative, then they, even though it's obvious, it's true, we see them, and they admonish all the people when they watch this, take notes, take note. And all we need for do now for continue for build up the resilience of the people, okay? Continue for build the resilience of the people. The social media criticism, it come in many forms or the space. So it come through talking, such as what people like we they do. It come through art, whether not drawing, whether not singing, so different forms. And you cannot resist that. You can't, because it's like the late Malcolm X. A single digit has got less effect. If I were to use my single finger for poke your head, of course, it will have an impact, but far less impact than 2, far less impact than 3, far less impact than 4. But when I fold the fist, imagine what it means. And the implication of the all of the people come together and realize that we can no longer take the status quo or tolerate the status quo, because something to deal with. So this is what we're doing, preparing our people through information of what is happening and what they expect to happen. Democracy doesn't come cheaply. We should be preparing for what is to come. We should be preparing for what is to come. Social media is here to dictate and inform and control the narrative, and we are reaching people far and wide. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've said enough. And una waiting at the platform today, the big una try for shape this far and wide. The other people that hear the conversation, you may not agree with what I said, but even though when you disagree, there's nothing wrong. You're entitled to your views, your opinion. But always I don't say now, please go check them up. It's on the record. I speak out of the record. Please go check them up. I speak out of the record. And I think having said this, I said it was going to be my concluding statement, and I'm done. It's been a show. And don't forget for tuning on Saturday, can be another program. We've been canceled the program on the First Lady. We postpone them, but it is coming. When I keep our eyes and ears open, it's going to be very, very powerful, because like we approach election, so we are trying to put things to rest. So the information that we provide is step up the information context, so people then will continue for understand and grasp the enormity of what we have ahead of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg to take your leave. I really beg to take your leave. On behalf of the Den and Now platform, I've been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Koroma. And as usual, I go beg una for say, Duya, make I take una leave now. We believe in the people. Make I left una with Geneva. Thank you very much.
Alma apoya